All right. So, did you attend or watch the Million Man March on October 16, 1995, which was held at the National Mall in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, I did. I attended the march itself.
Okay. Would you consider this event or to be one of the most important modern events of African American history and civil rights?
Yes, I did.
Was it important to you?
It's very important to me. It gave me an opportunity to meet a lot of black men. Gave me an opportunity to see black men come together in a controlled environment and not do all some of the things that um, historically thought that black men do when they gather in large groups, which is being rowdy and disruptive. But it was very organized, and we enjoyed each other's company.
Okay. Did you meet anybody specifically, or just anybody from across from the United States that you remember talking to or interacting with during the march that wasn't necessarily from Baltimore?
Well, I traveled over on the train, so I met some people who had come down from Philadelphia
Mm.
and caught the train from Philadelphia over to D.C. And we had good conversation, and we had we made acquaintances and we bonded and spoke about the significance of the event and what it meant to us and our kids and things like that.
Okay. So what did it mean to you specifically as a African American black man?
It it meant that large groups of African American men can get together and have a special effect on their or control their own being, their own existence. And when it was so well organized, it shows
Mhm.
that we did show organization skills. We did show skills where we were we were under control. We were courteous to each other. We were respectful to each other, and we didn't have any disagreements and no skirmishes and things like
No
that.
problems or issues.
No problems, no issues, and we we showed that we were willing to participate, and a lot of factual information that got which we took back home was how to treat our wives and our women and our children, and how to be more self-sufficient in the economy that we lived in. Those
Okay.
were very instrumental things that that were brought up at the men's conference, and just in general camaraderie of large groups of black people getting together and enjoying each other's company.
Okay. Did it change your outlook on life or any of your or any perspectives or anything like that? Or any of your like your opinions that you had of like the march of how it was going to be? Like did it turn out differently of how you thought it was going to turn out?
It it turned out I had some expectations of it maybe getting too large for for DC to handle without a large police force or intervention and things like that. But it didn't. The brothers were in control. Um, we weren't controlled by the police force. Everyone was personally responsible for their own behavior
Mhm.
and the way they acted, and everyone acted accordingly. So that was somewhat of a surprise, but after I got there and saw how well things were put together, how it was organized, how they had the speakers where everybody could hear, and you could just see million black men as far as the eye could see,
Mhm.
and there was no rowdiness in the crowd. They were orderly when they asked to speak, when they asked to make donations or whatever. It was done. Everything was done in a very orderly and it was something that black men could be very proud of.
So are you glad that it became such of a big deal in history?
I am because a lot of times other folks who aren't of in that from our culture or our background, sometimes they have stereotypes of the way that we act
Very
when
true.
we get together in large groups. And what we showed them is that we can be responsible. We can learn from each other. We can take criticism, or we can take suggestions from someone who may know more than us or who have experienced more than us, and we can relate that to our families and to our sons and our wives and our sisters in the neighborhood. And that's something that I was has even has an effect on me now
Mhm.
when I see other black men who may not be doing as well as they need to be doing, or not being responsible for their lives
Mhm.
as they need to. So that's just something that reminds me that it's my job, which I took from that, to speak up and let them know how important it is, how they stand up as black men and take care of their communities and their families.
Very true. Okay. So you took your son with you to the march.
Yes, I did.
Was that important to you to have him with you to show him how important it was?
It was very important because a lot of times we have our sons, or sometimes we have sons from broken families and
Mhm.
broken homes and things like that, and this was an opportunity for all the sons and the fathers and the uncles and whatever to get together and get a sense of, this is the way black men can act and should act.
Mhm.
And when my son saw it, how orderly it was, and that just gives him something to think about. He had a lot of role models there, people who spoke well, had people who were orderly, people who helped each other. You had older gentlemen being helped. You had busloads of elderly people
Right, because they had a lot of
chipped in.
speakers also, right?
Yes, they had a lot of speakers, and it just gave him an idea of how black men can get together and do positive things for
For
themselves.
something that they
It's something for him to
believe in.
strive for.
Right, right. Okay, is there anything that you want to add in the interview that we missed, or any questions that I kind of didn't go directed to? Anything you would like to add?
Well, I'm. What I would like to add is that I don't think that now a lot of people really still consider the Million Man March as an important historical event for black people.
And why do you think
As
it's
as
that?
I think it's because I don't think a lot of people in America want that to be a positive thing for black people. They're used to
Do you
giving.
think it's because it goes against the stereotype of black men?
I think right as first and foremost, I think it goes against the stereotype of black men, and how that a lot of times their lives are chaotic or disoriented, and this was one of the things that even from the numbers of people where they said there wasn't a million men,
Mhm.
and I've seen crowds at the mall before where they said it's been over a million people, and this is like, as far as you could see with the human eye, it was just
It was
black
a lot.
men.
Okay.
It was just black men. So I could look from up near from where they gave the speeches, and as far as I could see, I just saw black men. I didn't see any empty space. I just saw black men out there doing what black men were there to do
To do.
that day, which was fellowship and talk about things that are positive for black men. So I think that should have um, much more of a historical um, um, I don't know what the right word is, the more of historical, be more
Value.
considered as a historical event because it was so positive.
Right.
Now, if it had been a very negative event for black people, we still been talking about it today.
Of course, everybody would remember.
And it would have been a very big issue. But since this was such a positive thing, and even and I don't know if it got reminded that they collected millions and millions of dollars that day for different organizations and things like that, and they just collected it. And the way they collected it is this: that every black man in the back handed his money to a black man in front of him, and then it was just handed to the front until it came up to where they collected it. So can you imagine a million black men
just handing
$5 to another black, and
right.
no one's putting it in his pocket, no one's doing anything.
Everybody's just being honest.
And everybody's
supporting
being
the cause.
honest and orderly, and so that was this, and it's that black folks do have money.
Yes.
and that we had an opportunity to control, was just an opportunity of us actually being able to control our own wealth in that small period of time. I mean, in that period of time, and do it in an orderly manner, which didn't have to be handled by banks, didn't have to be handled by Wall Street.
Right.
It was just handled by black men, giving to other black men to do stuff.
Supporting each other.
So that is something that I think they should, keep going, or have a 10-year anniversary, or have a 20-year anniversary, or something that really reflects that historical day.
They should, because they really don't teach enough about it. I feel as though they mention it in the school system sometimes, but they don't really.
I think it also is because one of the very prominent speakers there was Mr. Louis Farrakhan.
Yes.
Who doesn't always, he speaks to his people, and he speaks to speaks of his religion, and he speaks to people who believe as his beliefs often, and in that message that he wants to drive hard into the black community, and sometimes white America is not very receptive to that message.
Yeah.
Even though it is a positive message for the black community, it teaches self-preservation, self-reliance, and self-building your own communities and things like that. So those kind of things were very positive from his standpoint, but I think that may be one of the reasons why it didn't get wasn't as popular, or was as big a historical event as some other black events or African American events.
Sure. Okay, well that concludes the interview. Thank you.